Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Cone Dodger here. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Today we are going to be finishing up the Vector series of the Lite campaign, where we are getting ready to produce the X3, which will very well be our final supercar in 2002, a car we engineered in 1994, the longest engineered car of all time. And we are continuing production of the XSC, which is our miniature supercar for the mass market, if you will. Well, a larger market. It has so far, as of 1999, I believe it's been selling for a year, I think. It has sold 11,000 copies. Let me look at the XSC's production numbers real quick here. Even though this is the last time we will be visiting this timeline in the Lite campaign, I do want to try and finish this off on a high note. So let's see here. We're currently still not selling to Arcana at all for any, barely, some cars there. And then, mostly in Gazmea, the Exponent has not come around as the economy has not come around. That was the car that I made to supplement the buyers if things turned around, and if the economy turned around and a lot of people had money, that car would have, been the one to take off. Alright, so now I have the cars more evenly matched in their production split, and I'm going to slightly overproduce them as I think the sales are continuing to increase as time goes on here. Let me go back and see what the old economy is doing. It is currently, luxury is what I want. It's currently leveling out, so I have a feeling it's about to start coming back up. Let us, since we can't do anything with the X3 just yet, let us play out this year and see what happens. I want to go back to budget. No, I want to go to production. And I will leave that open, and let's see what happens. Alright, so what happened was another continuing trend. Everything went pretty smoothly. There's some interesting things to note here. In Fruinia, we have actually started to have a positive reputation and prestige, so that is a nice increase. We're retaining some prestige in Gazmea, though not nearly as much as we originally had with our supercars. Our reputation has mostly corrected itself. We sold this year 6,000 more XSCs, which is not a huge amount of production. Our revenue was 142 million, so I made a decent amount of money on that. Considering we're engineering the X3 right now, to have a negative 92 million is really acceptable. So overall, the XSC so far has been the most successful car, but we would need to sell a lot more of them to really have it be immensely profitable. Okay, well, let's continue here. I see the stock numbers are starting to rise on the tangent and lower on the exponent. So let me pause for a second here. It's already October, but I'm curious. It is leveled out. So we're starting to head back up again. That is why those numbers are happening. This is encouraging for me because that legitimizes my theory that the economy turning around would have meant the Exponent would have been the more popular of the two. We just didn't have quite the turnaround in economy that we needed for that to happen. The car is probably getting near its end of life now, where the buyers are gonna start to dry up for it. But we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna reduce its production. We only have a couple months to go this year. In the year 2000, not as good of a year. 4,800 cars sold. And a negative 118 million of a loss there. So, not a particularly great year. We're certainly now to the point where we cannot engineer another car. That's the end story here, and that is where our campaign will most likely end. Is that we just won't have the money to design a car. You can go negative. I believe you can spend more money than you have. But that's not something that I'm particularly interested in doing. So, well, let's pause. Obviously, I've got to reduce the production or I've got to adjust the production on this XSC. dunk, dunk, and we'll see that, yeah, now the Exponent has more demand than production. So swing that back around the other way. Okay, there we go. It is, I mean, we're nowhere near leveling out between these two, but it is nice to see that they are starting to sell more similarly, or at least the Exponent is really picking up. So I'm going to leave them at about 1 for the remainder of this year, and that should about do it for the XSC. An interesting development through the year of 2001 is that our prestige in Gazmea actually has gone sub 1. That was very surprising to me. We actually sold more cars this year than last, so things are definitely, I believe, turning around as far as economy stuff goes. So let's pause there. Very interesting to me that in Gazmea, this car is actually a negative to prestige, and in Fruinia is a positive, though we're selling far less in Fruinia, to be honest. Sales, let's see here. In Gazmea, the demographic for track premium is 1.5, and we're selling 1.5 of a 1.7. Sport budget, only 305 of 713. This, I believe, is the category we should have gotten this car to perform better in. That is the mistake there. And the other ones, we're still doing okay. Light Sport Premium and Track and Light Sport, not great there either. Fun Premium, it's actually not terrible either. So this car probably a little too expensive for the markets, considering this is still going on. Blue, Fruinia is still staying flat. Arcana and Gazmea are on the increase, but we're still at half the economic strength of where we started this company. Not great, not very good. Hyper is starting to come back, and Super, so hopefully the X3 will be somewhat of a hit. If for whatever reason it seems like we can produce another car without going below the 0 mark in our budget, then I will produce another car. If not, we'll cut it right there. That'll be the end of this playthrough. Alright, so a couple things of note. We just started producing the X3. We had a really good month, even for the XSC. We have a bit of an overstock on them, to be honest. That isn't too terribly bad, though. It's still selling okay. So, let's see here. Prestige has started to come back up, and reputation is going up. We sold 127 of the X3s, but I will need to revise this and see how it is stacking up in this current condition. We have a little bit less demand than production at the moment, which is basically as few of them as I can make. Not looking fantastic as of now. Yeah, as of now, 435 million. There's no way I could engineer another car to replace either one of these right now. I could start to design it, but to sign off of it would put me pretty far into the negative real quick. Now I know from previous mistakes, now is the only time you could, in theory, start to engineer another car. If you waited till these two ended production, it's game over, man. So I think what I might do is make the replacement for the XSC just so we have closure on this, and we'll see that will probably be our demise. Boy, it's too bad that we're burning this company to the ground, because this is probably one of my favorite bodies in the game, and I'm excited to build this car, and it will likely be the last thing that we do. So I guess we'll go out in style. At first I thought maybe I would just let the two that we produced, run the company into the ground, but I think we're going to go out with a bang instead of a fizzle. So let's try and make this thing the best economy super hypercar we've ever seen. Sleek looking body, nice and aggressive, really fantastic design. It fits the theme very, very well. It's like a miniature hypercar. Engine-wise, I assume we're probably going to stick with what we know with the inline 4 setup that we used in the previous XSC, but I'll see what fits in here. It looks like a V8 would fit, so I'm going to make a very, very small V8. How about a 3-liter V8? And I think we can do this in a way that will have a very low production time, and that is what I'm looking for. So if we can get this 3-liter V8 to make like 250 horsepower and be reliable, that would be ideal for us. We keep it very low on quality sliders and things like that. Keep it very high in compression to make the power. Pretty aggressive cam. Like, all of these things will make us power without costing us lots of engineering time. So that is important. Naturally aspirated, of course. And we'll do multi-point EFI single. Performance, I don't think will take very much production time at all. So we'll go with that, or engineering time, I mean. And we'll have it run on Super, I guess. I could compare with Premium in the future. A lot of times I say things like that, like, oh, I'll compare. And then I either never go back and compare, or I do it off camera, and it's very confusing, and I'm sorry for that. All right, what's our initial... Oh, 291 horsepower. That's actually significantly better than expected. Engineering time 73. Compare that to engines we've made in the past. Well, that's a little bit better, and we're going to get a lot more power than this out of it, because it certainly can handle more compression. Keeps on going. Keeps on going. Keeps on going. There it goes. Okay. 11.9 looks like a good place to be. 302 horsepower. Yikes. That's quite a performing engine, actually. And let's see here. That's all good there. We're having a little bit of top-end issue. How's the reliability look? 63. Honestly, I would like it a bit better than that. So I may have to put some quality in the bottom end. I didn't do very much at all. That would get us up to 64. Maybe not worth it. I could just reduce the revs and make a little less power. Yeah, if we go down to 7100, we can still make 300 horsepower, so that's good, and that gets us up to 67. 13% economy. It's not a fuel sipper, but as small and light as this car should be, that might be all right. So much is available to us now, 2003. We could do a sequential manual, but we're not, because we need it to be cheap and quick to make. So we'll continue to go down this path. Wow, 172 miles per hour. This could be the best car we've ever made, which will be a shame, but it is what it is. Let's see. Open differential. If we can get away with that, I will stick with it. Sports compounds. See a 215, 225. Well, I mean, this car, it's at the toss-up. It's very light, so hopefully that will save us. The toss-up is that, I mean, 170 miles an hour is a fast car, so bigger tires would be nice. Certainly bigger than 15, 16. I think 17 fits it better. I'm trying to learn from previous mistakes. I am going with less initial quality on things and using quality as a tuning element and not a base element. Alright, we'll go for a very basic interior at first. This will be questionable, so that's something I'll definitely have to return to. So much stuff here, but we're going to go with standard. We'll do cast monotubes. We're pretty familiar with that now. Passive, I don't think that's too necessary yet. As always with these mid-engine cars, oversteer. So let me fix that. Boy, this is another one that does not want to stop oversteering. Spring stiffness is still something that's a little bit confusing for me in terms of road car setup. It's quite a bit different than how I think about it in terms of like setting up a car in Assetto Corsa or iRacing or that kind of stuff. Where you might reduce the rear springs maybe to get the spoiler out of the air, the wing out of the air, or something like that, or maybe to soften them up to get more avalanche out of the turns. In oval racing, you will, say, increase the rear spring stiffness to tighten a car up in some situations, but loosen it in others. So it's not a very cut and dry thing for me, and especially with mid-engine cars, I seem to not be doing it perfectly. End of the day, we may have to pull some tire off the front of the thing just to get it into a realm of possibility. You know what? I bet you we're going to have to do the push rod in the rear, not only for the attributes of the handling, but to put more rear tire on it. Yep, that's what we needed. Okay, well now to do a lot of adjusting on the suspension setup, because I've got it way too understeery. Alright, so it's easier from here. Let's see, this is... Okay, more rear spring is indeed making it have more oversteer. That is what I was initially thinking. I saw some differing opinions in that way, but that in this car, in this particular case, that seems to be how it is working. And handling-wise, we've gotten it pretty darn good as of right now. What I'm seeing is that the car is probably still too expensive, so that's going to be tough. That's going to be real tough to try and figure out how to make this thing marketable. Total cost as of right now is $75.21, so it's not very expensive. It's possibly not expensive enough. Lots of green. Let's go to the other chart to make it a little bit easier here. Let's see. Its desirability is very high in sport budget and light sport. And, it's probably just a little too expensive. But in light sport, it's good. Track, it's good. Fun premium, it's good. Pony, probably a little too expensive, but it's still scoring well. Light sport premium, it's doing very well. It's very nice that it has so much green, because now when we put 100% markup on there, we might actually still have some green. And we do. Light sport premium, track premium, light sport. So how do we make it cheaper? Because I would like to do this car and maybe another version of it that's like super budget, like as budget as possible. Because as of right now, it's doing very well in the light sport premium, but that's still a pretty small market at the end of the day. So little things like here in the brakes, I've taken the quality out of the equation, single pistons up front, much smaller rotors, only enough brakes to get the car slowed down safely. And that has improved our scores both in Light Sport Premium and in Sport. So that's the kind of fine-tuning I need to be really focusing on when building cars. Here in tires, do we really need the extra boost in quality on these? Do we really need sports compounds, medium compounds? Well, they make the car a death trap, so that's probably actually necessary. Under tray, do we really need the under tray? Not really. It doesn't actually help its scores at all, so we won't use it. Alright, so let's see. Let's actually copy the Radian clone. I'm going to work on now a super budget version of this car. Let's see how cheaply I could make this kind of car and keep it relatively sporty. So we remove the quality attributes here. We remove a quality attribute there. And let's see about also, we're going to reduce the compression down to normal level because we're going to change the fuel to, say, premium, which should make buyers happier in this kind of market. Reduce the RPM limit way down so we can make this thing very reliable without having to spend money on parts. We don't need to put a quality on the mufflers or exhaust or anything like that. We probably don't even need it on the fuel system. Brought down the cam profile as well to try and get a little bit more economy. I might even go a little bit further with it. Let's try and stay above the 270 horsepower mark. There we go. Yeah, what's our economy looking like so far? 14.8, not a whole lot better, but it is using the less octane fuel, which is nice. And the engineering time on the engine is lower, and the material cost is lower. How much lower? Let's look. 62, 14, 19. 62, 14, 19. 73 and 14, 41. So not a lot less materials, but a lot less engineering time. A lot less production units, probably. You go. Yes, way less production units. Okay. All right. Moving forward. All right, so what is the current price difference? This one at 100% markup, 24,200 versus the Radians at load all the things, 26. Not nearly as much cheaper as I expected. I've done basically all I can, and there's just not a way to make this car cheap enough in its current form to really go into any markets that are better than the original build. So it looks like the original one is going to be the winner. But I learned quite a bit about the different markets available for this from this car. I think it's just if you were going to try and get into, say, the what is it, track budget or sport budget, you'd have to take it from a non-supercar perspective, or go even further towards the budget build, like maybe a simple 4-cylinder or something like that. We would have to shed about $10,000 off of this car's value, or off of its cost, and that is something that I don't think I could really do with the current build. But it's actually scoring really well in, the Lite Sport Premium and Track Premium, Lite Sport, Track, Sport Budget, Sport, Fun Premium, Family Sport Premium, really small family, with 100% markup. So we'll see how it's doing. More than anything, what I want to see about is about engineering time. How quickly can we make this car? There will lie the difference. Okay, so with base values on everything, 3 years, 2 months. Much better on the chassis. On the engine, still 5 years. Engine engineering time is quite an extreme thing. I can hire myself on this one. Brings us down to 4 years, 8 months. Now that's better than the 8 or 9 years that the last one took to make, for sure. But we need to get that more down to where the chassis is. 4 years, 1 month is better. So we can save money on chassis development, because it's going to take 4 years either way. So we'll go ahead and use our 4 years here, if we got it. And the engine engineering is still... I'm curious. Well, why do I have the 2 trims? I can actually get rid of the Eco completely. None. Okay. What does that change? Well, it brings us down to 3 years, 9 months. Alright, so yeah, I still had that in there from the other build. Okay. What is taking so long here? The top end is the most extreme part of this engine. The dual overhead camness, which 18.8 is not as bad as some of the numbers we saw in some of the other engines, so that's okay. 3 years, 9 months, I can increase. I'm going to go ahead and increase that to the full 4 years. On reliability here, I think that will be important. So at least our car matches the chassis. Chassis-wise, drivetrain is pretty much it for things that are extreme. Chassis itself is pretty extreme, but the chassis certainly is something that takes a lot to engineer. So that's not too bad either. Now we're in production on the XSC and the X3 in these plots. We'll see if we can assign it still. Looks like we can. And we don't need anything crazy for this one. No, yeah, everything's pretty much normal for this car. Let's see here. We're currently producing 17 cars. Engine 17.5. Will match, but it's actually really well matched as it is. We will increase the QA threshold on both of these to 60. Because we're trying to save our reputation as we destroy our company here. So a few more shifts to make the engines. The engines certainly take more to create. Why did that not hold at 60? Do these sliders not do anything yet? Is that possible? Possibly so. They keep defaulting to 50. Or I'm misunderstanding it. Either way, let's look at the final page here. $29,000 would be our total cost with 100% markup. At the end of the day, still really green in these two. I think it might be worth trying at this rate. Competitiveness list is 8 competitors. We're a little less desirable, but a little bit more affordable. So that's good. That's a nice thing to have, but more affordable in this economy. Lite Sport Premium, we are slightly more desirable, but slightly more expensive. And Sport Budget was the one I really wanted to break into. We're far more desirable, but way too expensive. So we're really going to have to hope the economy turns around there, which is unlikely, to be honest. As of now, not an extremely high selling car. Not extremely high selling at all. Initial demand would show 1.88 to 1, but that will all change as time goes on. The economy is going to improve as we go here, no question. Fruinia likes us, so we're going to be selling them cheaper there, just to try and break into that market and continue to break into that market. Nice. Oh, this is actually a very nice break even and everything. This car actually has the potential to be successful. And the grand total is 766 million, which of course we don't have. The break even would be 2015, which isn't nearly as far down the road because it costs so much less to engineer. So that's the difference there. Well, let's run this puppy into the ground. Well, label me surprised, we only lost $80 million this year. And that is because the X3 and XSC are actually selling pretty well. 6,700 cars this year. Let's look at things here. Oh, wow. That's what we need. That is the only thing that can save us. We need that to just keep going up. Keep going up. Sales. We're selling every hypercar available. We're selling lots of supercars. Still doing okay in the track and track premium. Light Sport has come up significantly. Let's review the XSC. Make sure slightly underproducing. Slightly. Let's revise it. Oh, we're actually, yeah, the exponent has really started to come around now. Like I said. Well, give us some more shifts. Make some more cars, guys. Make all the cars. Maybe even sell them at more. Ooh. What did I just do that killed everything? Okay. Just kidding. I won't touch anything. Everything's fine. Let's look at this one. It is 103. So it's doing pretty much exactly what we expected it to. Okay, this year we lost some money. We lost quite a bit more. Unfortunately, we lost a little reputation as well, which is surprising to me. Wonder which car it is that's hurting it. Probably the X3. Let's see, negative 102. So by 2007, we might still have some money. We will see. I really did not expect things to go this well, but the economy turning around is very much so helping us. Pause. Let's see. Stock of 80 of these. Revise. Yeah, demand is now only slightly below production, so that's okay. The X3 is certainly not breaking any sales records. Total profit 79 million. Not going to break even on that one. This one, though, the XSC, total profit of 465 million. By far our best car so far. Revise. Dunk. Yeah, we still, once again, need more exponents. 2005, negative 111 million. And let's see here, 6,200 cars sold. All is good there. Economy, how you doing? Oh, you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This game does not want us to succeed. This has to be the longest streak of terrible economy I've ever seen anybody have in a Lite campaign ever. Oh man. Let's just review stuff real quick here. XSCs we're starting to stack up on. Them. We're able to keep producing this car really long because it was a little bit future-proofed, but we're really hurting on sales at the moment due to the whole economy. Oh wow. Just marking them down 10%, sold our entire fleet of those cars. So they're going back up 10%, that's for sure. There it goes. XSC is canceled. There goes our moneymaker. Negative 134 million this year. We're just going to have to ride this one out now. The X3 is not doing fantastic itself. Especially in the economy it is. I mean, it's been doing alright. It's been selling its bare minimum. But not setting the world on fire there. Market. Things are back on the rise again, though. It spiked back up, so maybe the X3 will sell off its remaining bits. Did you go to Drag Premium? That XSC. I really need to not name those XSC. That's too hard for me to say. XSC did really well, though. And we're selling all of the hypercars that are sold and most of the supercars, so it's not as though the X3 is a failure. This has been the failure. Alright, pause. The XS3 Mark III just went into production. And revise. How's it looking? I think it's going to sell really well. Oh yeah, it is. Make a more. Make a ton of them. Oh, factory cannot meet demand. Okay, that's fine. That's the first time we've seen that happen. But we can just increase the price on it. Sell a little bit less of them. Hey, profit. We made a profit, everybody. $70 million. We made a profit. XS3 Mark II is doing fantastic, selling way beyond the rate of the original one. So playing this car out will be highly successful for us. Our demand is way above again. We can hardly even sell or make enough of these things. Another year of impressive amounts of profit. $110 million. Thank you very much. Oh, mamma mia, look at that spike. What in the heck? Did somebody just learn how to copy money or what happened? Oh, this economy is crazy. Absolutely crazy. 113 million in 2010. We're sitting on $300 million. Letting this play through, we could probably design the X4 and sell it before things started to go really bad. But as I mentioned last time, I'm looking forward to starting from scratch here in the Lite campaign, starting from more of a beginning era, maybe 1950s, and doing a regular car company playthrough. So at this point, I think I'm going to let this go one more year and see if we can get into the 4 digits of score, 1,000 score, and probably end this little storyline at this. I honestly came into this today thinking we're going to run this company into bankruptcy, but as it turns out, we may have actually turned this company around and survived the worst economy for a supercar company ever. We did it. 1,077. So we actually managed to turn our $4 billion into $394 million with a score of 1,077 over the scope of 30 years as a supercar manufacturer. It doesn't sound like much, but to me, I am very pleased with this result, and I think I have learned an immense about how the whole Lite campaign works, and I really look forward to now taking what we've learned in how to do this in basically the worst possible scenario, and try and play this through a normal car company scenario. And I think it'll be really interesting. I'm going to record that a little bit differently. This I've been recording, one session at a time. That I may record as either an entire campaign at a time or maybe an entire decade or two. I'm going to try and make it have a little bit more continuity amongst the recording sessions. But again, overall, we could not be happier with how this ended, and I hope you look forward to future Lite campaign endeavors. What do you think? I was just going to let it end there? Burn this sucker down! Sell him for free! Hey, we ripped and we managed to end with a score above 1,000. Not too bad. Endgame summary. bankruptcy. Not too bad at all. Let's see, cars sold per year. So we started in the 80s. We had a very minute sales of the X1 there. Then 1996, we started producing the XSC, and that brought us up to the selling thousands of cars per year. We never really made more than 10,000 though. But you can see just what the XSC2 did for our company. It really shot up the production and sales numbers a ton. We had a terrible reputation in the late 90s, but really turned that around. The XSC is really the car that saved our company. That is for sure. Company name. We're on the scoreboard. We're 15th on the scoreboard. I guess I didn't name the company or something like that. Who knows? Good, bad, or indifferent, thanks you all for the support, and I will see you next time.